Welcome to this edition of On Tap, presented by FCSI The Americas. I'm Wade Kaler, Executive Director. On Tap this week, I have the pleasure of interviewing someone I've been looking forward to meeting for a long time, so I'm just going to jump right into the interview. Please welcome the Chief Operating Officer of Counihan and Associates, Miss Melissa Counihan. Hi, Melissa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Absolutely. Well, I've been looking forward to it. You guys we were supposed to be in our conference in Austin last year for COVID. Looking forward to being in your backyard. I was looking forward to actually meeting you at Austin and didn't get that chance. So here we are a year and a half, almost 2 years later, and I still haven't met you. So I'm really glad to have this one-on-one conversation finally.
Me too. I'm hoping that y'all can actually get a conference back here in Austin, Texas.
Currently 2024.
Oh, I'm so excited.
We'll be back. So same hotel, everything. At least we hope so. So
good.
Definitely.
Good.
So tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get your start? What are some of the things that maybe you focus in on with the firm compared to some other people inside the firm?
Yeah. So like so many people, I came to this in sort of a different manner, right? Not traditional at all. My family's background is in the food service business, but I went away from it completely. I was a school teacher for quite some time. I was a school teacher for 12 years. Then I worked for Houghton Mifflin Harcourt as their vice president of product development and marketing for all of their literature and social studies product. So I did that for 11 years. And then I came back to the family business. And so I've been in and out of it multiple times. And it's like you never leave. It's like they suck you back in, right? So we have had it we've been in business for so long now. Yeah. And Mom and Dad have been very successful in having this business since 1984. Wow. And so I am, it is a pleasure now to be the person to take it into the next generation. Yeah.
So with a food service consulting firm, I'm always curious what Chief Operating Officer means. So what, for you guys with Counihan Associates, what does that mean?
That means every day you get a different job. It could be that, I do have multiple hats. I will tell you that. But really run the business, make sure it is successful across the board. Put the financial controls into place, look for new opportunities for us, be the spokesperson for the business. Yeah. And then, of course, I do like to do the design work and things like that, and consulting too. So, like I said, it depends on the day. And that's part of what I really enjoy is that every day is a different day. There's something new and different and exciting every day.
So you taught for many years, you said. So I didn't catch it there. What was it that you actually taught? Was it a specific topic or grade?
Yeah, I taught history. Okay. So I taught mostly, American history, world history, and government economics. Wow. So mostly high school. Okay. And then I coached volleyball and track.
Wow. You stayed busy with that too then.
Absolutely.
Very good. It is funny though how so many people, even myself, I left the food service industry for a while, and even though I'm not directly involved in it, I kind of am because of FCSI again. But it is funny how many people I talk to in the industry have tried to leave it at some point or another and end up getting sucked back into it. Yeah. It's either usually through a friend or family, or they just miss it. In your area, it looks like it was probably all three. So you really are stuck now. You're not going anywhere, I believe. So tell us a little bit about Counihan Associates. What do you guys focus in on? Is there a segment or a specialty that you do mostly of, or are you kind of into every segment of the industry, or where do you go, or what's your niche?
Well, we started out I think predominantly in more of a consultation role
Okay.
in the early part of the 80s 90s, and we've really developed more into a food service design firm.
Okay.
I would say probably 80% of our business now is food service design versus food service consulting, like operations side. So that's really our predominant focus. And I would say we tend to do all types of business. It doesn't matter from a design perspective, if it's a small or a large, whether it's a new build or a renovation. One of the things I would say is we like those customers who are different. I mean, who have something that's unique, a unique opportunity. We are not a firm who takes on. Well, we have taken on chain operations and done that kind of thing. That's not our bailiwick, right? That's not something that we're real. It's not. We don't like cookie cutter. I mean, I guess that's the way to put it, right? We like the new, the different, the challenge, and so we go after those projects that are going to provide that to us and that are interesting. That's not to say that we don't go after the little mom and pop ones too, but I mean that's where we started. But now we have also the opportunity to go after really large really large clients too. So,
nice. Is there a particular one in the last few years that you've got that you're really proud of?
I would say Oracle. We're showcased with that one this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it is a absolutely phenomenal project that we worked on. Nice. But we've had several across the different different projects across the years that I really think are exceptional. And we've done a lot of different college projects that I think have stand the test of time, and that's one of the things you look at is when you go in and you do a project and you come back a couple of years later, does it still look like it's supposed to look?
Yeah.
Does it still function like it's supposed to function? Are the people happy with the design that you've come up with?
Right. Yeah, the function certainly. Everybody has the one way they think they want to open it up, but is it still operating the same way 2 years into full operations?
Absolutely.
What's or who has been the greatest influence on your life so far?
Gosh, that's a hard question. Well, it's actually an easy question. I would say my parents are by far my chief inspiration. Both my mom and my dad. They've been the drivers for just a role model of what hard work is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And what professionalism looks like.
Yeah.
And really, they have two different perspectives. My mother is very much a listener, and she kind of comes at it from she thinks about things and is, when she's ready to say something, what she says is like uber important, and you better be listening, and it's it's going to be super impactful.
Yeah.
And then my dad, he is that fast talker, straight shooter, straight to the point. And so you get the two perspectives together, and I think I've been blessed, and I think as my siblings have also been blessed to have both perspectives, and I think that is a great has been a great role model for me.
Nice. What's one piece of advice you give anybody that's thinking of becoming a food service consultant?
Don't get frustrated with clients. They're going to change their mind. You're going to be challenged to, they're going to change their mind, and you're going to need to listen. And you need to listen more than you talk. And you need to try to not put your bias of what you think it should be into the design. I think that happens a lot. I think that sometimes we think we know better than what the client does. And sometimes you have to let the client come to the realization that, you kind of have to feed them little bits along the way to let them come to the way that you're thinking.
Yeah.
And so it takes time.
That's great advice. I completely agree. Listen,
Yeah.
and be adaptable. You're exactly right. It's one of the hard, even as an association executive with clients, it's the hard times where you've got to put yourself aside and go, what's the client really want versus what I think is best? Because I'm not a member of that association. It's, with FCSI, I do that probably on a weekly basis. It's not my association, it's theirs. I'm just the guy that's fortunate enough to be running it. So, and I'm not a food service consultant, nor will I ever be. So I don't, while I understand everything you all do, I have no desire to do what you all do. So I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
But being chief operating officer, again, I also do know with food service consulting firms, they're a hard operation to run. There's a lot of ups and downs and ebbs and flows of too many projects, too few projects, just the right amount. What's one piece of advice you would give firms when it comes to operating a consulting business?
Whew, that one's hard. I think balance is really important. And I have this giant spreadsheet where we spread out all of our projects and phase them across time. And so I use that to sort of show us where things kind of flow and where we're going to schedule out. And it's not perfect by any means, but you can have too many projects at one time. I feel like right now we're busting at the seams, right?
Yeah.
And so in those times when I feel like we are just taxed, it's have assets at hand that you can go and pull from, right? So if you've got the opportunity to have a pool of assets, whether it be contract assets or some other assets that you can pull from to go relieve a little stress on your people, do that. The other side of that too is reward those that you work with. I think that's an important thing. We want to make sure that we give our folks enough time to recuperate. Yeah. And then the last thing is push back on the client. There is nobody that says we're not doing brain surgery here. I mean, honestly, you can say you can't have this tomorrow. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
And we live in a world that everybody wants things tomorrow, and it just can't happen every day like that.
Right now, the food service industry, as we've coming out of COVID, we're still not out of it yet, but we're having a hard time. It seems like this is a nationwide and global problem, but we're having a hard time hiring and retaining employees in restaurants. In your past, you've been a personnel trainer. I know that's one of your backgrounds as well. What are a few of the mistakes that restaurants are making right now, and what would you recommend they do to correct that when it comes to hiring and firing and personnel?
I think we have an issue overall right now in just getting people back to work, right? I think that number one is kind of a global issue across the board. And I don't know if it's just systemic to the restaurant industry overall. I think it's everywhere. Yeah. From a restaurant industry perspective, I think that part of the issue is training folks to be more customer centric. When a customer comes in, they're looking to be served, and so the first thing, and I'll give you an example of this. Starbucks does a great job, and I'm not trying to single them out. But one of the things that they do and do very, very well is from a training perspective, they are really customer focused, and part of their impetus is really around relationship with the client. And beyond anything, whether they're going to have the product that you want or not, they're going to build a relationship with you at the window, right? Or at the point of sale. And I think that is a big plus for them, because that relationship, that ends up being something that, if it's positive, wins you points if you screw up in the end, right? So, and I think that if we can figure out a way to implement some sort of positive training in other restaurant situations, other restaurateurs can do that in a more of a widespread kind of way, that can help.
Yeah.
Because I think that, people kind of are coming back to restaurants being kind of frustrated because there's not enough staff, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's not enough people to do the job. There's not enough whatever, right? And people are going to have to wait.
Yeah.
They're going to be upset. It's going to take time. And so they're already in a situation where it's going to be strained. Yeah. And I think if they come to it with somebody who has grace, who's nice to them, it's going to just smooth their little feathers out a little bit. Yeah. And they're going to feel like they're treated better. Yeah. And when you feel like you're treated better, then you're going to sit back and you're going to say, okay, I can deal with this for 15 more minutes.
I agree. And I think that when you've got somebody like that that's actually working, if somebody is really fired up about having to wait too long or something like that, you can almost feel within the other people around them in line that they almost immediately have empathy for the employee who's trying to do their best, instead of having if the employee doesn't have the attitude that they're overwhelmed and everything, if they're really trying to create that relationship. If it doesn't diffuse it, I've seen people actually nowadays say something, like another customer say something, because they realize, a lot of us realize that the employees that are, you can tell when somebody's really enjoying what they do and trying to do their best. So I like that idea. I like to see the employees that are trying to do it, but I also see the ugly side of it right now. The wait times are longer. People are out of more things. And I think as a public, we need to be a little bit more patient as well with the employees, especially the younger ones, the high schoolers that are, they're just getting in their first couple jobs and they're getting beat up in the fast food or quick serve industry right now. And so patience is another one on both sides, the employee and the customer side. Yeah,
and I do think, as a follow-on to that, I think it's really important that we train our managers to be good, good trainers of employees, right? So it's it kind of is a trickle-down effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
If your manager really starts off in a positive manner and is teaching them the best practices, then it's going to have that ripple down effect to them, that they're going to be confident, they're going to be patient, they're going to want to service that customer.
Well, Melissa, that's all the questions I've got for you on the formal side today. But before I get going, I do like to go through some fun questions as we have in past seasons. So I've got a few would you rather questions that we'll dive into here. The first one is, would you rather have the ability to read minds or the ability to move things with your mind?
I think I'd rather have the ability to read minds.
Would you rather be forced to sing along or forced to dance with every single song you hear?
Oh, sing along. I sing along in the car all the time.
Would you rather be chronically underdressed or overdressed?
Overdressed all the time.
Would you rather have universal respect or unlimited power?
A universal respect.
Would you rather never be able to go out during the day or never be able to go out during the night?
Never go out during the night? I don't know about that one.
Okay. Would you rather lounge by the pool or lounge by the beach?
Lounge by the beach.
Would you rather wear the same socks for a month or the same underwear for a week?
Gross. Both of them are horrible. The same socks.
Would you rather spend a week in the forest or a night in a haunted house?
A night in a haunted house.
Would you rather get a paper cut every time you turn a page or bite your tongue every time you eat?
Oh, God, that's horrible, too. Maybe the paper cut?
Okay. Would you rather have skin that changes colors based on your emotions or tattoos that appear all over your body showing what you did yesterday?
I think I probably already have the skin that changes color, so I'll go that direction.
Okay. Would you rather be beautiful and stupid or unattractive and a genius?
Probably unattractive and a genius.
Would you rather only eat pizza for a year or not be able to eat any pizza for 5 years?
I would rather not eat the pizza for 5 years.
Would you rather give up cursing forever or give up desserts for 5 years?
Oh, good Lord. That would be really hard for me to do, but I guess I would give up the dessert.
And finally, would you rather go backstage with your favorite band or be an extra on your favorite TV show?
I would go backstage with my favorite band.
Well, that's all I've got for you today, but how can people find out more information about you and the firm, Melissa?
We would love for you to come visit our website, CounihanAssociates.com, or visit us on LinkedIn.
Well, that wraps up this edition of On Tap presented by FCSI The Americas. A huge thank you to Melissa for joining us today. We can't do this show without members like you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts and to turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any future episodes. But until then, cheers.